This is my next project. Here is a shelf and a set of drawers that go inside the shelf for a coffee bar that belongs to my neighbor. And I'm going to refinish it. The top, it has to have a very thick clear coat on it as a protective finish, so we'll do that. The top is, you can see that it's warped. I don't know if I can get in position here, but you can see that the top is warped. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to clean it up as much as I can. I think it's mostly stained, and then I will put oxalic acid on it as many times as necessary and just see how many stains I can get out of it. And after I do the oxalic acid, then I'm going to try to straighten this top shelf. Now, I can't promise anything at all. I don't know, because you can see how it's in there with dowels. So my thought is to actually take it apart. And you can see the back is starting to warp as well. There's I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but there's a tiny space in the back. So the whole thing is warped in like a concave shape. So what I was thinking is I would take it apart and see how much I can straighten that top before I do any refinishing, if at all possible. And if not, if I can't do that, maybe I can plane it down a little bit so at least it is level, even though it is warped underneath. So we'll give it a shot. Hi, my name is Kat from Owling Dog. I love creative arts and restoring old furniture and other items. The time you spend watching this channel is appreciated. I hope you subscribe and like these videos, which helps circulate the content. Feel free to drop a comment. All of these are appreciated. Well, let's go see what's in the barn. I'm giving this shelf system a good cleaning with Zep and Dawn dishwashing liquid. I'm finding that it's really not that dirty. It's mostly stained from spills. So I'm going to get that clean. Sometimes you just have to do the best you can with what you have. My little stand is not the best, but it gets it to a height where I don't have to hunch over and break my back doing the cleaning. Here I'm mixing some oxalic acid powder into some warm water, which I put a little glass of clear water in my microwave, and that's how I heat it up. I'm just going to dissolve the oxalic acid in that water and then pour it into my bucket, and I'll add a little bit more clear water on top of it. I gave it one coat of the oxalic acid and I've rinsed it really well. And I'm sanding it here with an 80 grit on the orbital sander. You don't want to sand without rinsing the oxalic acid. It's very caustic to breathe it in. So I'm going to hit it with oxalic acid again and see if I can't get these heavy stains out. It looks better, you know, it looks a lot better, but I'm going to try one more pass with the oxalic acid. It's still drying, but I really wish I could get it clearer. I hope it's friendly. So I got an iron because I really needed one, especially for the shop. So everything's all rinsed and it's nice and wet. So what I'm going to do is I am going to heat it up and then I'm going to put some clamps on it. And because I'm going away for a couple of days, I'm going to leave the clamps on and see if just having a few days of, you know, clamping on the dampened wood, you know, especially after heating it, if that will help. And we'll try anyway. Hopefully it won't crack on the top, which is really my fear. If I wasn't going away, I would put just a little bit of pressure on it every day. But I'm going away, so I'm going to have to do a decent amount of pressure and then catch up with it when I get back. So not only is that wood soaking wet, but I'm going to apply heat to it to hopefully make the wood more malleable to a bend without cracking. Now, there's no guarantee, but that's my goal. I'm going to try to warm it up. I will flip it over and do the underside as well. And I'll just keep going over it with that steam iron. And like I said, it's soaking wet. So I'm going to go over it with the steam iron for a while, front and back, and then start to apply some pressure on it with clamps to see if I can't coax it into straightening. That's as tight as I'm going to go. It's not as tight as it can go, but I don't want to crack the rest of it. So I'm going to leave it like this for a few days and see what happens. So it's been sitting here several days. Not as flat as it could be because I didn't press down as hard as I could, but I just wanted to get a first pass on this. So, whoops. Ouch. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. You know, I can still see the bend. I can feel. You can see the space. So there, you can see the space underneath the level. So I'm going to try it again tonight. I'm going to wet it. And I'm going to iron it. And I'm going to clamp it again. Okay. So let's see if it worked. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. You can see that it hits the middle, but it's still up significantly on the sides. So you can see from dry fitting it that the ends are still up. And there's a significant amount of play here. On each side, maybe a little less on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it where the high spot is underneath. Then I'll flip it over and mark it where the high spot is on top. I might be able to get it a little flatter by sanding it because I don't have a planer like that. I have a hand planer, but you know, I could take off some wood on a piece of wood, like a 3/4 inch or something, but I can't take down an entire piece with it. I'm not that talented. So let me try it with the sander and see how far I can get. I thought about using a pencil, but I don't want to make marks on it that I'm going to end up sanding off, so I'm going to use some tape. So I'm going to try doing the same thing, only I'm going to pad it a little with this underneath. As it will compress, but it will just give it maybe just a little pressure to help it bend on either side. And I'll use the blue clamps. Okay. So I put more pressure on it now than I have in the past. So I can see that I can see where it's bunched up underneath. But hopefully once I release that pressure, it looks like I could add some more over here. Right there. That space. I think it's as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to sand it again, and we'll start staining all the parts. Okay, it's all apart and sanded, all the pieces. Here's another piece right here. And I'm going to do the first coat of a paint wash, and I'm going to use the color Truffle. So let's see what happens. In planning that for the insides of the doors where they're stained, I'm going to do a regular paint, not a paint wash, but I'll do the same color in a full opaque coat on the inside of the doors. Really nice color. Just using a microfiber cloth, a nice new one. So let's start on the big shelf. So that's 2 coats of the wash and just some cursory staining of the inside wood, and the drawers are still drying. So what I'm going to do is, and that probably looks dark, but that's fine because in the end I'm going to white wax it, so I need it to have a little bit of oomph. So right now I'm going to sand with 220 and just make sure it's nice and smooth before I do any other finishing. I'm using some redesign with Prima stamps, and I'll list the names of each afterwards and underneath in the text on the video. And I'm just using some metallic paint. It's upside down. Thank you for watching the video. This week I refinished an etagere shelf for my neighbors. It was quite stained and very, very warped. Now, I actually couldn't get it totally flat, but I bleached it 4 times with oxalic acid, and I put it on the clamps 3 times. The first time it was on clamps for almost a week, and I think that did most of the straightening. And then I tried it in a couple of different positions. The last position I did it in, I had a little bit of packing underneath the middle of it so that when I clamped down, it would go convex instead of concave the way it is. And I think that helped a little bit. You know, maybe if I had a steamer, which I don't, so I used my iron, and I think that helped a lot. I had to do a lot of sanding with it, and even right now, it's not totally finished because the product that I used is an oil-based product, and I wasn't thinking about it this morning when I did it, but it's going to take a day, at least 24 hours of drying before I can put my flat matte water seal on the top. But this should help prevent spills from staining, hopefully in the future. Plus, I will use some clear wax over the water-based clear coat as well. And wax, once it's really dry and cured, wax is a really good protectant against water. It seals up pretty well. One really bad thing that happened was I had it all stained. I did a chalk paint with water as a color wash on it. I did a regular straight chalk paint, opaque paint inside the drawer, so it was nice, and you know, you'd be able to place things in it without worrying. But I wanted the grain of the wood to show. It's very rustic looking, and I thought the dark stain would be good. Originally, I had planned to do a white waxing over it, but once I saw the color wash in the brown stain, I just thought that looked really pretty. And I had it all done. I had the drawers stamped. It was a little bit different. And I went to put it back together, and I realized that the transfer that I put on was backwards. So it was facing the back. And I had to sand it all the way down again, and refinish it all over again. So it was somewhat crazy. Yeah, so I'm going to let it dry tonight. Maybe, and I'm saying maybe, when I put the clear wax on after it's all finished, I might go around the edges with a little bit of black wax as well. I think that would be really pretty, just to highlight the edges of the furniture itself, a little bit on the drawers, and I think that will be really pretty. Once I do, I will post the pictures on Instagram, so hopefully you follow me over there. And on Facebook, everything is Owling Dog. So thank you again. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and yeah, I hope the neighbors like their new shelf. I hope you have all good and beautiful things. Thank you.